This is Hello, this is David, and today we are going to be checking how to create scheduling agreements with release procedure. It is useful when we want that the schedule lines generated automatically are not sent directly to the vendor, and instead we want to check first the schedule lines. So it is also important when we want to implement just-in-time methodology in SAP software. And we have to do 2 steps in customizing and 2 steps in material master data before we can create a scheduling agreement with release procedure. So first we are going to SPRO, customizing, then SAP reference IMG. We scroll down until materials management. We select it, and then we select purchasing. Then we select scheduling agreement. We open the menu, and the first step is define document types. In define document types, we need to check that the document LP8 has the release document indicator selected. So once we are sure it is selected, we can go back and go for the second step. The second step is create a profile. So we click on execute, and the creation profile is assigned at plant level. So we can click on position and enter the plant that we are working on. And here we can check that there are currently 4 creation profiles. The ones that start with this letter are created by users. So we are going to check the standard one by clicking on details. And then we go to aggregation horizons. Here we have no aggregation for the next 2 days. It means that for tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, if we have 5 requirements in tomorrow's date, they are going to be sent in 5 schedule lines individually. We can also specify at what time, by hour, minutes, and seconds. For the day after tomorrow, is going to apply the same. This is the horizon for no aggregation, and daily aggregation is going to apply for the 3rd date. We can make it longer if we want. And here is the horizon for the JIT delivery schedule. We also have the forecast delivery schedule, and in this one is going to help us to make a time bucket of months for the requirements, and with a planning horizon of 30 work days. So once that we check that these settings are done in customizing, we can go for the prerequisites done at the master data level. So we are going to create a vendor in SK01 transaction code. And here we do not enter anything. The system is going to create a number, an internal number. So we only enter the company code 1000 and the purchasing organization 1000 also. And in the accounting group, it is important that we select a specific accounting group created for vendors. This is the account group that we required, LIF, so I select it, and I click on continue, and I can create my, here we are creating a vendor. The title for the vendor could be a company, and the name is going to be, I am going to write Mapresa 0001. The search term could be Mapres 0001, and the country is going to be US, and the communication language for this vendor is going to be English. Then we can click on continue. This one is in case that the vendor is also a customer, so we can click continue. The bank details that for this example we are not going to be using, and neither the contact person. In this one, every time that we check this checkbox in a field, it means that we need to fill the the information in a mandatory way. So I am going to enter the GL account. The GL account is going to help us to track all the transactions in accounting view, all credits, debits related to this vendor. And we also need to enter a cash management. We are going to select any one. For the example that we are working on today is not very relevant. Then we click on continue, continue, continue. And in the purchasing view, we need to enter the order currency. This is mandatory, so we can also use the same currency that we are working in the company code, or it could be a different currency, but I am going to select the same one as in the company code 1000. And if I scroll down, here I can check that there is no creation profile field and I need to activate it. To activate it, we go to extras. They are activated, but if in your system they are gray out, you can click on add purchasing data, select them, and click on continue. This will activate these menus. So now I can click on different data, click on yes, enter the plant 1000 and select purchasing data and continue. This will activate the creation profile, and in the creation profile I can click on this search button and select the profile that we just checked. For 2 days no aggregation, the 3rd day daily aggregation, and for the forecast aggregation it's going to be months with a horizon of 30 days. So I select this one, and now I can save the vendor. The vendor is created, and the vendor number is 67. So I can copy the vendor number and close this one. The final step at master data is in the material master, MM02, to change the material master. And here we enter the material that we are going to be using in the agreement with our vendor. So this is going to be material X. I click on continue, and then I go to the purchasing view and click on continue. I enter the plant and click on continue. Here, if I scroll down, we can check that there is a JIT schedule indicator. We need to select here one that stands for automatically, and save it. Now all the prerequisites are done, and we can create our scheduling agreement by going to logistics, materials management, purchasing, outline agreement, scheduling agreement, create, and in ME 32L we click on, in create we go to ME 31L vendor known to create the scheduling agreement. So double click on this one. We can paste the vendor that we just created, 67, and the agreement type is LP8, that we just check that the indicator for release documentation is selected. The agreement date is today's date. The purchasing organization is 1000, and the purchasing group is 000. Purchasing group is the person who is going to be performing the buyings. And we also enter the plant 1000 and click on continue. Now the system will request a valid period. This is today's date, and the valid period is going to be for 1 year. So I enter 10th, 05, 20, 21, and continue. Here we enter the material, and the target quantity is the estimated quantity that we are going to be buying to the vendor for this period of 1 year. Could be, this information can be taken from the statistics of the consumption of this material for the last year or last 2 years. And then the net price could be a good price, since we are going to be negotiating 1 year of buyings to this vendor. And then click on enter. This will load information. Now we can save the agreement 199 is generated. We can go back. And now if we need to change something, we can go to emit 32L. This will remember the agreement number. So I click on enter. And I can select the line. If you want to add more material for this agreement, you can also do it. For this time, we are only working with one. We can select and click on additional data. If we scroll down, we can check the creation profile assigned to the vendor and the JIT indicator activated at material master. So now we can create the schedule line in delivery schedule emit38 maintained. Here we enter the schedule lines. This is the contract, continue. And we can go to the release document, scheduling agreement release document, by selecting this one and clicking on the icon. And here we can check that we have JIT schedules and forecast schedule. These are for the period with no aggregation and daily aggregation. And these are for the periods of month aggregation. We can use anyone to transmit the information of the vendor in the short term or in the long term. We can also go to the creation transmission, and here we can also check the creation profile assigned and the aggregation horizons. Let's remember two dates without aggregation and the third date with aggregation, and month buckets for the forecast for 30 days horizon. So I am going to close this one, and this time I enter again emit38, same transaction, to maintain the delivery schedule. We can go by selecting and clicking on delivery schedule or by double click on this one. So I am going to select and click on delivery schedule. Today's day is May 10th, 2020. So the next date will be 11/05/2020, and I am going to enter 3 lines for the same date. The quantity 3, 3, and 3. And also we can specify at what time. The first one is going to be at 11. Second one is going to be at 12. And the third one is going to be at 3. And we can click on enter to generate the schedule lines. The schedule lines are generated for tomorrow, and I am going to enter for the day after tomorrow. So 12/05/2020. I am also going to enter 3 lines. Quantity this time 5. You can enter quantity you want, and also specify the times. So 11, 12, and 13, and generate. Now we have the lines for tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, and we set in the creation profile that no aggregation for the next 2 dates and daily aggregation for the third date. So the third date will be this one, and I am going to generate 2 lines for this one. For this one, it is not necessary to add a time because they are going to be grouped, they are going to be summed in only one line. But anyway, I am going to write a delivery time 12 and this one, and generate. I will also add another schedule line for the 14, and it's going to be for 10 pieces. Generate, and I am going to add 2 for the next month, which is June. So this could be 20 and 20 and generate. And I am going to add 2 more for July and for August. And then click on generate. Enter sorry, the quantities 24 and 24 also. Generate the lines. Now we can generate schedule line messages. If we go to schedule agreement release document, we can check that currently there are no messages generated, neither for JIT schedule, not for forecast schedule. So we can go back and go to the edit menu and generate first what is for the short-term JIT schedule. If we go to a schedule agreement release document, we can check one document generated, and this will keep the track of all the documents generated. We can also generate documents for the forecast by going back to the schedule lines and select on edit and generate forecast schedule. Now they are generated. We can go back, and here we go to schedule agreement release also, and now the document is generated for forecast also. We can select first for the short-term requirements and then click on schedule line release, and here we can check that for tomorrow there is no aggregation. The lines are shown individually at the specific time they are required, and for the day after tomorrow there is no aggregation either. There is only aggregation for the third date, the 13th May. We have only one line for 20, even though the schedule lines for 13 are 2. So they are sum, no matter the times, they are group, they are aggregate in one line for the total quantity of 20. And the rest of the days in the month are not in the horizon of the JIT. If we want to check the forecast schedule, we can select this one and go to the schedule lines, and here we can check that it is gathering the information for the first month and the second month, because we established 30 days of scope, and it is totalizing the quantity for the month of June. It is 40, and this comes from these two lines, 20 plus 20. So we can go again to a schedule release document, and we can send this to the vendor for the short requirements, or this one for the long requirements, just to check, to assure that the vendor has the capacity. But we are going to work with this today. So we can select and message per release. We go to message per release, and here we need to select the output type. The output type for JIT is LPJ1, JIT delivery schedule. So we select this one, On the transmission medium, we can select print output. Here we enter the partner function and the partner and the language. If we click on this one, the system will load the information automatically. And now we can, it is in a yellow triangle indicating that the message was not processed yet. You can select this one and go to the communication method to configure the printout. We can select local if we want to print in our local machine. We can select print immediately, and the number of messages we printed one. And we can also select the name of the document, say JIT, also JIT. We can select, click on continue, go back, and now the further data, we select again and we go for further data, and we can select that it is created once we save or periodically scheduled job in a background job. Let's go with save with addition immediately when saving the application. Go back and save. We are going to send, if we want to send to the vendor forecast, we need to create also the output message. So we select, go to the messages for release, and the output type for the forecast is LPH want. But we are not going to be sending the forecasts, only the short-term requirements. So we are going to be working only with this one. So we go back and we can save. This will bring the document to print because we say that at the time of save it generates a document, but we are not going to using it now. Now we need to transmit this message. It was already transmitted, but if you do not want, if we had selected a different function instead of sending directly at the time of saving, you can transmit the message by going to messages. First, you need to release the message. And to release the message, you create the message in ME84. And here you select JIT to create the message. Enter the plant. Scope of select the number 4 without restrictions. And here we are generating the message at JIT schedules. So we want to select test run so that the system generates the message at JIT level, and we click on execute. This will generate message, and now we can transmit this message to the vendor. So we go back, and this time we go to messages, ME9L, print transmit, double click. This is the document number and the purchasing organization and the purchasing group. In the application, we need to select EL that stands for Purchase Schedule Agreement Release. We select this one, and the message type is the message type that we configured in the output type LPJ1. Schedule agreement JIT delivery schedule, we select, and the processing status, the message was already processed, so we select one, successfully processed, and successfully processed, and click on execute. Now we can select the message. This one, it was already transmitted. This icon indicates message outputted, and we can select and click on display message to check what was outputted. We can check how the JIT is working. It is not doing aggregation for the tomorrow's date, 11/11/11, and for the day after tomorrow, it is not doing either the aggregation. It is doing the aggregation only for the third date. We can go to ME38 to validate this information. This is our document 199. Double click on this one to check the set case lines. We can check here how we have the first requirement for 3 and the cumulative 6 and 9. So this is the sum of this one, and this one, and the individual requirements, and for 12, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and the cumulative. And even though we have a specific time for the third date, it is being aggregated as per our creation profile customizing. So that will be everything about a scheduling agreement with release procedure. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next video. Thanks.